Hey guys, Bart with Bicycle Rider YouTube, and I have gone a little bit enduro crazy. You guys know me, I love my cross country. I just got first place in my age group in the local cross country mountain bike race. So down here in the South, cross country is king. I love the speed. I love the cardio. But I have been fortunate enough lately to take a couple trips and do some downhill, do some more enduro style riding. And I'm totally stoked on it. So, I was up at outside of Golden, Colorado, Apex and White Ranch. After doing cross country for a little bit, it is kind of steep and deep, and you definitely need the right equipment to do it. So here in my hands, I've got a Marin Alpine Trail Carbon 1. This bike is friggin' phenomenal. I love the way it rides. The whole package together is not an inexpensive package, but when you start looking at a bike with this much tech built into it, with this much gear, well, with the way it's been designed, price point on this bike is like $3,500. But when you compare it to other bikes in its category, you find out that Marin really knows how to put a package together in the first place that works good. Second place is priced super competitively. I'm not going to go spec by spec on this bike and kind of talk about every component. I just want to, touch on a few key pieces. The RockShox Yari, so this bike has got big stanchions on it. It tracks good. It's got 160 millimeters of travel that actually works. So, this bike is dialed in. The front end of this bike is very, very stable, and it is so capable. Recently going on some of these enduro, I'm hitting rocks at a steep angle and the bike rolls over it. On my cross country bike, it's hard to go that steep and deep without going over the front end. But with a bike that's capable like this, it turns those moments of, am I going to make it over this route? Am I going to make it over this rock? Am I carrying enough speed? It turns those moments into fun. Sometimes when you're doing it, you don't even have time to think about how much fun you're doing it, but after the day's done, you're thinking about what you just accomplished. It's freaking phenomenal. And as a lifetime cyclist, there's no way in the early 80s that we rode Apex and White Ranch with the kind of agility that we can nowadays. So, and a lot of it is the technology. Of course, you got to know what you're doing, but the bike will carry you over those type of things. And the Marin Alpine Trail is one of those enduro bikes that does a great job of that. When I was talking about suspension, so, I touched base on the front suspension, but the way they've engineered the suspension rocker, it's 150 millimeter in the back, and of course, I've got a RockShox Deluxe Select on there. So that's what this bike comes stock with, and this bike does eat up the bumps. At high speed, it eats them up at low speed. If you're hooking off a cliff or doing a pretty big gap or something, this bike is capable of taking those landings and smoothing them out for you. Of course, this guy comes with a nice, dropper post, 12 by drive system. So it's a Dior 12 by drive system that just works good. Comet cranks, so nothing fancy there, but very functional, and keeps the price down. If you ever did want to upgrade crank or anything, it's all set up to do that. But this bike is good out of the box. 4-piston Shimano brakes. So I'm like I said, I'm a cross country guy, but the more time I get to spend on some of these enduro downhill trails, bike parks, it is a friggin' blast, but you do have to have the right equipment for it. So, a lot of it's, slacker head angles. This has a 63.5 head tube angle. Seat post angle is a 78 degree, and the chain stays are 430. So, you guys that crunch all the numbers, that this is a bike that's set up to do more enduro style riding and do it well. Down here where I'm at, Biloxi, Mississippi, we don't have a whole lot of enduro, but we are starting to get some flow trail. We got Bogachita. The Ridgeland Trail system has a really cool little jump park. I'm going to call it a downhill trail. We've got Butts Park. Coldwater Mountain. So there's definitely places to go ride these bikes. And if you're, if you're spinning this bike around on a cross-country trail like we have outside of here at Bethel, you can still ride this bike efficiently. It's still fun. It does come with some really aggressive tires to do downhill and enduro, but you could, you can swap these tires for a lighter, faster rolling tire when you're down in these regions. And a bike like this is super fun to ride, and it doesn't beat you up on the roots. They're solid enough that they're not, they're not getting torn apart on these kind of trails down here. But still very capable if you do get to, go to Oak Mountain or some of those places where, you can actually point this thing downhill and do what it's made to do. So just know that the Marin Alpine Trail Carbon is a blast to ride. It's a solid bike. We are in my bike shop here in Biloxi, Mississippi. You don't see a lot of big travel bikes, here in this area, but I like carrying them. Just because they are fun to ride. This is a size XL. I don't ride an XL. I'm 5'9". This is for a much bigger guy than me. But it's cool when these big guys come into the bike shop and they can get on a bike that they feel comfortable on, that has a lot of travel, that they, when they're riding, it's got more stability to it. So, even down here on our cross-country trail, if you go through some of our sand and some stuff that on my cross-country bike you get washed out on, this bike tracks straight. So it's great taking maybe some of these bigger roadie guys that have some fitness and getting them on a bike like this and get them out on our trails. And they absolutely have a blast. Sometimes a hardtail is just harsh. Sometimes a cross-country bike is a bit twitchy. But you get someone on an enduro, on a trail bike like this that's capable, and they love it. So I really enjoy selling these bikes to our local customers. I'm not telling you all this so you come to my bike shop to buy this bike. I'm doing more of a review so you could just know how excited I am about this bike. It rides good. It's priced right. The geometry numbers are cool. It's got an awesome paint job. So just know, no matter what part of the country you live in, there's always some place where a bike like this is going to feel good. I know some guys riding this bike like urban assault stuff. They don't even get out there mountain biking very often, but they enjoy, going down parking garages and up and over curbs and down the steps. And, a bike like this doesn't get torn up real easy. Of course, you do have to take care of it a lot. And that brings me to this point too, the carbon frame versus aluminum frame. A lot of people are saying, well, Bart, do I want to take a carbon frame and put it through that kind of punishment? Absolutely. These carbon frames are tough. I've seen a carbon frame bounce off the rocks with no damage, where I've seen an aluminum frame bend and dent. So, and it's all in how you hit. I'm not saying that every time you crash your bike on a rock, you're not going to damage something. But I have seen with my own eyes just how tough a lot of these carbon frames are. And it's lightweight. And when I'm saying lightweight, it's not lightweight like my cross-country race bike. But, for what this bike is, I'll weigh it right now. It's, oh, shoot, my scale is dead. It's over 30 pounds, though. This bike's probably 33, 34 pounds stock, but you're not that much worried about that kind of weight on a bike. These bikes are built tough, but with the carbon frame, it is nice when you're in the air and you're trying to get this bike to do the right thing. Just having that little bit of extra weight, sometimes that inertia to pull you, it makes it tougher. For a small guy like me, I really like the little bit of a lightness of a carbon frame, but it's also a very tough, stout frame. So anyway, Marin Alpine Trail Carbon. They're super cool bikes. If you have any questions, call me up at the bike shop, Biloxi Bicycle Works. I'm not going to try to sell you this bike, but I'll be glad to, tell you my real life ride experiences with this bike. Get them while you can. They're a super hot bike. All right, Bicycle Rider YouTube, over and out.